Okay, so let's start this video and let me introduce you. Let me introduce myself to you guys. My name is Dr. Gaurav Mudgal. I am an internal medicine resident in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And today I'll be addressing your questions as I am I am an IMG and I graduated from India and last year I applied through ERAS like whole journey and I'll address your questions like without any filter. I'll be addressing everything about ERAS application, about what to expect during this time and what are the pertinent things you should be knowing about this match, everything. So let's start this video and uh, one by one, I'll be addressing your questions. So who's going to ask me first question? And also first, this thing, today's 4th of July. So happy 4th of July, everybody. You can hear like firecrackers outside my window. So, okay. I would suggest like everybody to ask me question like by switching on your mic and I'll address that question.
Hi, if you guys don't mind, I'll probably go first. I just had a quick, maybe not that quick question about the ERAS application.
Okay.
Maybe you can kind of share your tips and tricks, like how to go about it. And because I'm just starting to work on it and just kind of diving into that process.
So have you taken like there's this token, ERAS token, have you taken that?
Yep.
Okay. So first, so could you please like briefly give me your question is like basically about ERAS application. The ERAS application is pretty much big, like particularly
Sure.
any section or like do you want me to explain everything? I am good with both. Like I can explain from starting to the end. I have already prepared a PDF about it and I can address. And if you have particularly like particular section question, I will address that too.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I don't think that I have a particular kind of section question at this point because I'm just starting. But
Okay.
I think just like how to go about filling all the sections and like how broadly or not broadly, how kind of, you know, the length of everything that you're addressing and pretty much everything connected to it.
Okay. So let me share my screen with you and guys, like you guys can also like if you're applying or if you're not in this math cycle, you guys can like learn from it and prepare yourself with the everything that is required in the ERAS application. So I'll share my screen with you. Okay, just a minute. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
The AMC My ERAS dashboard ERAS 2023 season, sorry. Okay, so you guys can see. So when you buy this token, I don't know how much is it like right now. This time maybe probably $80 or something. I don't know. I've asked one of my friend to give me these screenshots, and so this year first you have to take the ERAS token, and that is probably around $80 or like I don't know about this season, but like previously it was around 40 or 80. I forgot about it. So when you buy this, like there's this whole section opens up while after registering for my ERAS, and when you log in into your account, you will see this dashboard. You can see this dashboard. So there are three sections, basically three sections. First is application. If you can see my cursor, this is my application. Second one is documents, and third one is programs. So I'll first go in dive into this application section. So when you open this application section, you can see personal information that is incomplete, biographic information that is also incomplete, education incomplete, experience, licensure, and publications. So one by one, I'll be going into this. So this is the main page that will open. And here, when you upload your picture, it will show here. But right now, if you don't have a picture, or like there's like good kind of picture, you have to put like not fancy stuff, formal attire. You have to put a formal attire and then use this picture for your application. So if you'll upload your picture, it will show here, and your AAMC ID will show here, and your name will be showing here, and your email address. These three things. This at this position. Second is application. So application, when you open personal information, when you click on incomplete section, it will open like this. So this will open. So just let me admit. So application will open like this. And if you can see, first section is personal information. So personal information, when you will be writing, your first name will be appearing here. If you have any middle name, this will appear here. And if you have any last name, this will appear here. And then your gender, your email, your date of birth. So everything will appear here, your personal information section. So this is AAMC account information. You can see this this column comes up, and like this row shows AAMC account information. You have to check this box. This is I authorize the release of my birth date to the program. So this is like a kind of box you have to check, because with this you will be giving the permission to the program so that they can see your information, especially your birth date. And this is second comes the basic information. So basic information means like your previous or last name, preferred name or something, preferred phone number. So I would suggest like writing your preferred phone number and mobile phone number. If you have any alternate number, you can also write that. Pager and fax usually people don't have, so you don't have to mention this. Then after basic information, then comes your address. So address section comes here. So if you can see the current mailing address. So I would suggest everybody, if you are not from America, I would suggest you to get a particular, like a mailing address of America, because it's very hard for program if they want to communicate to you via a mail or something. So there should be a mailing address. You can use other like you can use other countries also, but it would be advisable to everybody to use American address. So if you are not living here, you can ask your family member or somebody who is living here to use to provide their address so that you can write it. And the person should be credible, so that like if your information that is like important will be coming to this address, they will tell you, or they will inform you about it. So write that mail address, and then state, city, postal, zip code. And there's this option that is this your permanent address? Guys, can you please switch off your mic, who's ever. Okay. So permanent address, if your permanent address is the same, you can check this box. Otherwise, no. Then there'll be a pop-up box that will open, and that will be showing that your permanent, that will ask that will be like they will be requiring your permanent address. Then goes to your work authorization. So this section, like if you can see work authorization, so if you are authorized to work in America, so they'll ask you this question: are you currently authorized to work in the United States? So most of the international medical students or graduates are not authorized to work in America. If you are, then that's good. Like if you are an American citizen or some H1 visa holder or green card holder, then you can say yes, otherwise no. So most of us are like, most of us click this section no. And if you're currently reside in the United States or Canada, please select where. If you're residing, then you can select this option. Then comes the after work authorization, this is the match information. So here comes the match information. So in match information, you have to select this option that I plan to participate in the NRMP match. So this is a National Residency Matching Program, NRMP. So in which like you have to participate if you want to apply for the match. That means like NRMP, you have to select yes. If you're getting any position outside the match, that is like highly unlikely. Those people select no. Otherwise, usually people select yes. 99.9% people. So select yes, and then there's this special place that where they'll be asking AUA members number. So if you're registered with American Urology Association, then you can write it. But like no, not most of the people are having this AUA number. So that if you don't have, that's not a problem. Then comes the additional information section. So additional information section has your USMLE ID or ECFMG ID, that will be the same. And I would suggest everybody to do ACLS, BALS, if you're applying for internal medicine or neurology or psychiatry or any other branch. And if you are applying for pediatrics also, so then like do ACLS, BLS, and PLS, all three. So these three things you should do at a place where that is AHA approved, because that will actually help you later also. Otherwise, there are like free courses which provide ACLS and BLS courses. You can do that too. I will put the link like free also options and AHA approved. Usually AHA approved are like $200 for ACLS and BLS both combined. So if you want, you can do that. Then comes, so if you have ACLS or BLS, you select ACLS, and PALS if you have PALS, and BLS if you have, and they will like ask you like when is the expiry of your ACLS certificate or BLS certificate. Usually it's for 2 years, so you have to write the expiry date. And then comes the alpha omega alpha status. So usually people who are American American medical graduates, they usually have their affiliation with alpha omega alpha status during their graduation or during their medical school. You don't have, so you select I don't have it, or like that doesn't apply on me. Then there's this option of gold humanism honor society status. So that also we don't have. So usually IMGs don't have. If you have, then you can select. Otherwise, mark as like I don't this doesn't apply for me. Then after doing the personal, so this was everything about personal information. So personal information from here, AMC account, basic information, address, work authorization, match information, and additional information. So everything we have filled. And then comes the biographic information. So biographic information has first option of self-identification. So self-identification is basically what is your basically the race. So which race do you belong? So usually if you are Hispanic, Hispanic means like if you're from Mexico, so South America, like Argentina, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Mexico, Cuba, Peru, or other Hispanic places, then you can click this box and select the subsection. If you're American Indian or Alaskan Native, then you can select these. Or if you are Asian, Asian is basically, Asian means India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Cambodia, China. You can select this Asian. So usually people from Southeast Asia are Asian, so they can select this. So in base biographic information, self-identification we have done, and then comes the language fluency. So when you go to language fluency, you can add all those languages you can speak or you can understand. I would recommend, like, if you know a lot of languages, like usually international medical graduates are fluent in their native language and English also. So they can, first is English, and then there will be a section in which, like, you have to write proficiency. Are you able to read, write, or are you able to, like, converse, or like if you can talk as a native language speaker, you can select that. So in this like you can see here, this person has selected that he is native or functionally native speaker. So if you are able to converse in English perfectly well like a native, then you can select this option. And the second language he has selected is Hindi. That is in the north part of India, people usually speak Hindi. And they also have this option of Urdu. Urdu is a bit similar to Hindi. So you can also select Urdu. And if you're native from north part of India, then you can select native, functional native. Punjabi, other languages, and if somebody is from Bangladesh, they can select Bangla as their language, and it goes on. If you're from Middle East, like, you can also, like, write Arabic, Arabic, and this way. So add as many as languages you know. You can select native, good, somewhat, like there are other like other levels of language, and select accordingly. And you can use this add entry button here to include more and more and more languages. Then comes, after the language fluency, it comes the military information. So military information is basically if you have done anything with a US military, or like if you have any kind of obligation with American military, then you can choose this. So most of the IMGs are not like obliged to fulfill any kind of commitment with US military. Then you just have to select no. And if you have any service obligation with public health or a state program or military reserve, then you can select yes. Right now, a lot of actually states in India are giving this bond thing to a lot of uh, medical graduates, that they have to serve some kind of rural service. So they have to select yes, and if you don't have any obligation, select no. Then comes additional information. So additional information, you can see in this section of additional information, there is this section of hobbies and interest. So I would highly recommend, this has like 500 words cap. So you can write about your hobbies, like, write if you love dancing, you can mark number one as like dancing is my hobby. So write bullet point one as dancing, and you can elaborate that I love dancing. I'm pretty much like I was a national level uh, this kind of dancer or something, or I have performed at this function. And some people, like, they love basketball, they have represented their country in national level or like international level, they can write that. Or somebody who likes like me, I love traveling, so I wrote that traveling was my hobby. So, and I also wrote about like where I like whatever place I have like I have in my bucket list, or something like that. So traveling, hiking, trekking. And you can also write about some peculiar interests or hobbies that you want your program to know about you. So with me was like, I really love like I want to explore this field of making perfumes. So I wrote that. So hobbies and interest. So you can write about it, and just like explain briefly. Don't like write a paragraph about your hobby. Don't. Just a hobby and some pertinent thing that you want your program to know about it. And after this biographic information comes your education. So in education, first comes the higher education. So in higher education, you have to write, like, this section allows multiple entries. So you can write about undergrad and graduation school you have attended. So basically, if you're from America, you can write about your undergrad. So undergrad is basically 4 years, and then graduation school means like your medical school. So, but people from Southeast Asia or other countries, they usually don't have undergrad program. So they usually write their medical school. So you can see that I wrote, after adding entry, I wrote the country India and the institution where I did my medical school and the degree that was awarded. If you click that, so you can see uh, the degree. So basically in India, they award MBBS, and other countries like they award MBBCH or something like that. You have to choose your institution because they'll be giving you a list, and then degree, and then degree month, when you started your medical school, and year in which you have graduated. So degree month, not like, sorry, I should be saying this like degree month. So when you got your degree, uh, month of that you have been awarded with the degree, and the year. Then comes dates of education. So in this section you can write like when you started your medical school, so month and the year, and when you have finished your medical school. So degree month is basically when you got your degree. So you can write like on your degree, you'll be seeing that you have got this degree on this, in this month and this year. But your date of education should be like in Indian context. I'm talking about like your medical school starts and then it finishes at even after your internship. So you have to include that part, your MBBS part, and then internship. So that means like your medical education started uh, from the initial first day, and like whenever your course starts is the first date, and when you have completed your medical education, that you have to write in this section. So that will include uh, the uh, the 1 year internship period also. Okay. And then comes the additional information that if you have any membership with the American Medical Association, AMA membership, or if you have any like if you are a medical practitioner in your country, then you can also write your professional societies affiliation. If you are associated with the WHO, then you can write WHO, like this. So this has word limit of 225. So write that within that word limit. Then comes um, medical schools award. Uh, is there anyone like asking me any question? Okay. So medical school awards. So in this section, you have to write about any award that you have received in your medical school. So that doesn't mean that you have to only write all the like your professional. You can also write extracurricular activities in these two sections. So usually people write there like if they have secured first position, or if they have got gold medal in this, and something else like if they have represented their medical school in state level or won some kind of quiz or something. So you can write that, and the word limit is 510 words. And in other awards and accomplishment section, you can write about, like, if you have been like the captain of basketball team, or if you have conducted some kind of research project, or any accomplishment that you have in your life, you can write that. And you just have to follow this word limit, 510 words. Okay. And I would recommend using bullet points. Bullet point method is the best. Instead of writing paragraphs, concise everything and write in bullet points. Like if you have represented your medical school in some kind of debate, and you won first position, then you can write like first position in debate in this year, and then explain that you have represented, not just right, represented my medical school in national level debate competition, and you've won first prize. So you can do this way. You can fill these sections, and then we'll go to so medical information is done, additional information is done. And whenever you complete any section, just save. So this section, every section you have to save. So personal information you have to save, then biographic information you have to save, then education you have to save, then comes the experience. So this is the big part. So this is something that everybody should be like knowing perfectly well, and how to write. Okay, so in experience there is this training. So training, please add an entry for any current or prior AOA internship, AOA residency, AOA fellowship, anything you have done in that is affiliated to American boards, like AOA internship or AOA residency. So usually people don't fill this because international medical graduates don't have this thing. So usually people don't write it. Okay, and then comes the experience. So experience is basically some just okay. So experience is basically in, if you open the experience section, add entry, you will see three kind of experiences. First is work experience, second is volunteer experiences, and third is research experience. So they have clearly written that please add an entry for your additional experiences. Clinical teaching experiences should be treated as work experience, includes all unpaid extracurricular activities and committees you have served on on as volunteer experience. After completing the required field, click save, and additional entries may be added as needed. Okay, so first, if you add entry, if you select this option, then it will ask you that what kind of experience you want to put in. So work experience. So work experiences means like if you have done some kind of clinical experience, that means like if you have done any rotation, or if you have done uh, any kind of clinical activity after your medical school. And that means like after your MBBS, but that will not include your 1 year internship, like if you are from India. So you can include your 1 year internship, and after that, if you have done any rotation, or if you have been serving anywhere as a house officer or resident doctor or something, you can write about that, and it will also be having a timeline. So like from which date to which date you have done that, so you can include that. So every entry you can write about like few things in that entry. So you can actually mention that you can first select the work experience, then the time from this month to this month, and the place, and who was the in charge, or like where did you do your work experience, and then you have to elaborate or like briefly elaborate your work experience. Means like you just have to write few words about your work experience. Like for example, I did rotation at SUNY Downstate Hospital. So at SUNY Downstate Hospital, I was doing a gastroenterology rotation, and in which like I used to be the part of uh, fellow resident and resident team, where I was like assisting doctor in the colonoscopies and EGDs. So I'll write like I assisted this many procedures, and I was also like uh, taking care of inpatient admissions, or like if you have done some kind of night floats, you can write that. And like briefly explain your experience, like what kind of work you were doing. If somebody was doing a rural posting or something, then they can write like they did a rural posting from this period to this period, and they were assisting like an ophthalmologist in diagnosing the cataract, and also the surgeries of cataract, or some kind of disease diagnosis and treatment. So you can write that in work experience. Work experience also include teaching experience. So if you have been teaching at a hospital, or like if you've been teaching at any institute, you can write that. Then second comes the volunteer experience. So volunteer experience means like in work experience you might get paid, or you are not getting paid, but volunteer experience means like you were not getting paid for that experience, but you did because you wanted to serve the community, or like serve the humanity, anything like that. So in volunteer experience, you can write that what extracurricular activities did you do. So imagine that like if you have been assisting healthcare providers for the vaccination of people against COVID, or something about like polio vaccines, or some health checkup camps in the rural part, or anything that you have been volunteering. So you can write that. In my case, I wrote like I'm an animal lover, so I used to volunteer for animal aid services in Delhi. So I wrote that experience and other experiences also. So you can write anything. Means like if you were a part of health checkup camp, or like you've been doing something for the animals, or volunteer means like if you have volunteer any kind of thing. uh, Volunteering does not mean that you are only like doing medical help. You can also include volunteering, like you have been raising funds for children, or like you were educating slum kids in slums, or something like that. And so this is work experience, and then volunteer experience, and then comes the research experience. In research experience, you can write about your research experience, like if you have been doing any kind of research at any hospital, or any attending or any researcher, you can write that, and the timeline from which month to which month, and then briefly tell about your experience, like you were like taking care of data provided by the researcher, and you did statistical tests, or something like that, or you were interviewing patient, or you were like randomizing the sample. Any kind of experience in research field will be included in research experience. Okay, so these three sections comes the experience section, And this is pretty big, like a lot of people actually need help. And I am actually in this position that I can help. So without charging anything, if you are like looking forward to uh, get an extra eye to look at your CV, then I'll be more than happy to help you in that. And I also have some friends, and there are some people who are pretty much good with these kind of stuff. I can ask them, and probably they'll help you too. So I will be like, if you really want that help, just let me know. You can send me your CV. I can give you my honest review and like honest opinion that what needs to be changed, or what needs to be corrected, and like how can you concisely say a few things. So this experience section is pretty vast, and there's no limit to it. You can write as many as work experience, as many as volunteer experiences, and research experiences. Usually people write like 5 or 6, 7, 8. I wrote around 10. So the list goes on and on and on. And then comes the additional questions. So this question is pretty much important. This question is, was your medical education or training extended or interrupted? So if your medical education was interrupted, then you have to say yes, otherwise no. In my case, it was not, so I selected no, and I did not have to explain that. But then you have to click yes, and then you have to explain what was the reason. So a lot of people actually do this thing, that they take out time during their internship and they extend their internship to do rotation in America. This is debatable. Actually, you can get electives, or you can get clerkships if you are if your medical school is having VSLO access. Otherwise, you can also apply to different hospitals for the clerkship. But you have to explain this, that for how many months your medical education was extended or interrupted, and explain that, and then select the save experience. Then comes the state medical licenses. So you can write about like in which state you have medical license to practice medicine. So usually people from international background, they usually have their state medical license, so they can write that. So just click add entry, and then the pop-up box will open, and then put the entry that if you have state medical licensing license, or like if you have medical council, MCI is Medical Council of India. So if you have that license to practice medicine, you can mention that. Then comes the additional questions. So in licensing, licensures, we have done the state medical licenses, and then comes the additional questions. So usually you have to read these. So are you able to carry out the responsibilities of a resident or fellow in the specialty and the specific training program to which you are applying, including the functional requirement, cognitive requirement, interpersonal and communication requirement, and attendance requirement, with or without reasonable accommodations? So you have to select yes, you are able to carry out the responsibilities of a resident. So yes. If you are not, then no. And that means like they won't give you interviews because there's no point. Then comes the second question. Has your medical license ever been suspended, revoked, or voluntarily terminated? If yes, then you have to select yes, that you have been suspended, otherwise no. I selected no because mine was never terminated. Third question is, have you been named in malpractice case? I was not, so I selected no. If you have, then select yes. Then comes, is there anything in your past history that would limit your ability to be licensed or would limit your ability to receive hospital privileges? If you have this, then select yes, otherwise no. You have to explain yes, like all the yeses. If you are selecting, then you have to select, explain that too. Then fifth question is, have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor in the United States? I was not, so I selected no. If you have been, then select yes. Then comes, have you ever been convicted of a felony in the United States? I was not, so I selected no. Then comes, has your medical license ever been suspended? Okay, so this is the same, and felony. And are you board certified? I was not in America. So you have to select what does that mean. So if you're not, then you cannot write this DEA registration number. So just leave that open, just leave that blank and save licensure. Then we will come at the research section, so publications. So this is also a pretty big section in which, like, if you have research experience, so research experiences means like if you have if you have submitted any abstract or any article or any peer review chapter or scientific monograph or poster presentation. So if you have presented any poster, so this section, if you have presented any poster, so you have to select this, and poster presentation at this place, or and like what was the topic of the poster, you have to write it, and like when did you present your poster, and any society or any place where your poster was presented, you have to mention that. So poster presentation comes here, and that means like you can put any poster presentation, whether it was in your medical school or any other place or American Heart Association or any big place, you can mention that. And even like you can write about poster presentation at your medical school, this will be considered. Okay. And peer review journal articles or abstracts. So if you have if you have written any article or abstract, you can select that, and that is like for published. If that is published, if you have submitted and it's under the review process, then you have to select the second option. So if you have any published article or abstract, you can select this and then write about the article. And they will also ask you to write that abstract or article in a particular way that I will teach you maybe tomorrow or some other day in next session, that how to write the authors and co-authors in this section of research. If your article has not been published, then you can select this, and there will be an option in that section that will ask you like whether you have submitted or not. So just select submitted but not published, so you can see in this. If you have any peer reviewed book chapter that you wrote, or like you help other person and your name is on that, you can write that. And if you have done any scientific monograph, you can select this. So this is basically the research section. And save publication. When you will be done with your like filling up everything, you can save publication. I would recommend everybody to do that, to save everything. And then after poster presentation comes the oral presentation. So if you have done any kind of oral presentation, you can write that. And then peer reviewed online publication or non peer reviewed online publication. So if you've done anything from these section, you can write that. Then so we have finished this section of application. So application section is basically finished, and then comes the certify and submit. Please don't do this section. This button is like forbidden for you. till you have like selected your programs and everything. So don't certify and some. Okay, so this was the basic of application section. Now comes the document section. So second is document section. Document section has these things like letter of recommendation. So usually people do rotations and ask their attendings to write them a letter of recommendation, and you can assign 4 letter of recommendation maximum, and you can upload like as like infinite number of letter of recommendation, but you can assign only 4. So select your 4 letter of recommendation, and I'll be teaching about this uploading letter of recommendation in my next video, not today because I don't have the screenshots. And then comes the personal statement. So after your LORs comes the personal statement. So personal statement means like something that you want your program to know about you. Outside from your academic and everything, your program should know you as a person, because you'll be spending 3 years with them, and like you'll be making your personal contact with them. You'll be a part of family at a residency program. So they should be knowing your qualities, what kind of a human you are. So this comes in your personal statement. So I would recommend like making a personal statement not beyond 1,000 words. That means 1 page or 1.5 page, not beyond that. You can write infinite number of words, but I would recommend 1,000 words, because it will take a lot of time for the interviewer to read about your personal statement. I will help you guys in personal statement also. Like my services are all free of cost. Whatever time I have, I will give to everybody. Like who will like, if anybody has any problem with personal statement, I will help that person. And but if you want some, I also know people who are who are professional in that field, and I can ask if they can help you with that, but they actually charge some money, but not a lot. Like a lot of agencies and other people are charging like hefty amount of money, not like that. These people are just like native English speakers. I know few of them, and I can ask them and they can give you a good discount. So please let me know if you have any problem with personal statement. You just have to prepare your draft, but they can edit your draft and correct your English, and also make your personal statement shine if you want. And the other way of writing personal statement is like writing about your personality or something about you, and explaining that in your statement, and asking your seniors, or like your medical school seniors who have matched, or who have done this thing, or somebody who knows, who has good command in English, to help you with your personal statement. But your story should be yours. They should not be writing your personal statement. They can only do proofreading. Okay, so please be aware about that. If anybody is saying that they'll write your personal statement and they'll charge you this much money, please don't fall in that trap. Then comes the medical school transcript. That means your medical school prepares a transcript in which they'll write about your subjects and the scores that you have got in your exams. So medical school transcript, upload that medical school transcript. I think you can upload through OSF. Then comes the MSPE or Dean's letter. So your hospital, like your medical school, prepares MSPE, medical student performance evaluation, and you have to submit that to ECSMG, I think through OSF. And this ECFMG status report that actually like automatically gets uploaded to your profile whenever you select upload. Then comes the photo. So your picture should be like formal, like you should be wearing, if you are a man, then you should be wearing a tie and a shirt and a suit, and your profile should look good. And the same goes with female also, like if they can put formal attire, that will be nice. And picture should be good, like with white background, and your face should be covering like good amount of area in the picture, and you should look professional. Then comes this section of programs. So programs in which like search about the programs, and like this is like this is later process I will be discussing in my future videos, not today. Like which program should be choosing and how to apply, that I will be doing in next video. So this was like everything about ERAS application. And you can view your application, and you can also print whenever you want. So you can like print your application whenever you complete, or like you want to see in the paper format. You can select this option of view or print application, and your application will be available in the PDF format. Okay, so this was everything about ERAS application. So anybody has any question about it?
Hi, if I have a question, like if someone don't have any medical school awards, so like can we left that blank, or we have to like just cite it down something?
So please don't leave that blank. I would recommend like writing few things about your awards. Like usually people have awards like you did some kind of debate, or some kind of like, even like if you have won some kind of award, like maybe you were in the gymnastic, or you won something in gymnastic, or like you were in the badminton team, and you won like third position. Write that. Just don't leave blank.
Okay, I have another question. Like, can we change the ERAS CV?
Okay.
Like if I have applied last year, so I want to like change the ERAS CV. So can I do that, or I have to like stick to all the timeline with the same months and the years? Which
You
I
can
don't.
change that. That's not a problem. You can change that, but like don't put like wrong information or false information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody has any question? Okay, so Rylan, if you have any question, or I hope I tried to answer your question about ERAS application. And Hemant, this Bharadwaj, Hira, Karanbir, Prakash has already asked me question. Pradyuman, anyone?
Hello, I have a question. I'm Karan. I want to know, like, is it like I recommend you to, I mean, like, learn like Spanish, like on the like I mean on the East Coast, like lot of people speak English, but if you go to the other coast, right? So they are. I mean, like, do you recommend? I mean, like, that we learn the Spanish, or like, what do you think?
So I don't know Spanish. Like I cannot speak and I cannot understand. To be honest, it's like If you are good in learning a new language, then you can try. Or like if you're planning to live in Spanish predominant area, like maybe south part like Texas or somewhere, or like even in New York City, some places are like, it's beneficial to learn Spanish because you'll be like having an edge over other people, because Spanish speaking residents are considered like, they are like, people desire Spanish speaking like residents in their program. So if that will be a good thing if you know, but if you don't, then I would recommend, like, please don't waste your time learning at this point. You can, but if you are slow learner, then please don't.
Okay, thank you. And I have other question. Like, there's a column like, they ask like, are you a member of like AHA or ACP? So I mean, like, which are the other, I mean, like, things, I mean, in which we can be a part of, and I mean, like, so that we can add that up if it can help us.
So AMA is good, like you can do that, and also ACP. And if you're a part of any committee in your native country, that will also be good. Otherwise, if you're not, then don't stress on that. Like usually people don't decide on the basis of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else has any question, or otherwise I'll conclude this session.
You were saying that you're gonna help with the like experiences, like if someone already done that. Like I have done my ERAS. I have been like writing down and thinking all the material what I will be writing it down. So like how I send you and all that stuff, if you can tell me, like contact you through WhatsApp, or is there an email so I like send you?
Anything. And if you want someone professional, like who does this for like a lot of people, I did not take anybody's help. I actually asked my seniors to do it, or like the residents and fellows, those I met uh, during my rotations. I asked them. I did not use any paid services, and I would also not recommend anybody to go to them.
Okay, how about you? Like how to send
Yeah,
you
you
all
can
the
send
things?
that to me. I will probably have a look at it and then give you my honest review or honest opinion. So you
So
can send that.
like how to send you through WhatsApp, or you
Yeah,
gonna send?
WhatsApp, email, anything.
Okay, so can I send you my draft? Actually, till now
Yes,
I,
yes, you can.
so like I have all written down from 1 month. I was also working on that. So
Okay, okay.
I was sure like what to write it down and all this stuff, so I can change some stuff.
Yeah,
So
sure.
my draft is already ready. So I was thinking to like pre-check by someone, so before that I can put it on the ERAS.
Yeah, sure. You can send that to me. No worries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. It was nice talking to you, and good night. Enjoy, and good morning if you are at other, like on the other side of the world. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Bye bye.